So that's one of the things we talk about with our customers is the risk associated with being on fossil-based tools. There's two tools that we like to show that talk about the differences between these. The first is the web-based tool from EPRI. EPRI is the Electrical Power Research Institute. They're basically like the American Dental Association. They say this toothpaste is good for whitening, this toothpaste is good for tartar control, yada yada. They're hired by people like Xcel Energy to write case studies for them. They look at the three upfront costs of the trucks, the fuel costs, and then of course the maintenance. Okay, this is what the tool looks like. I've got it available online. If anybody wants the link for it, contact Chris or any of us in here and we'll get it to you. It basically just breaks it down. Electric trucks do in fact cost more than internal combustion trucks because you're buying your fuel up front. Okay? Do you guys lease your trucks or buy your trucks? A little bit of sprinkling of both. They say about 60% of the amount of trucks that are purchased today are actually leased. So if you have a lease, you just take your lease payment, multiply it by whatever your term is, and enter that number in here. So we got the blue for the capital costs. Then we go ahead and we adjust our hours. Here is the, these are all sliders, and I can show you these guys on web-based. Why do you think that you would have a difference for the size of the truck for this tool? Why would that matter? It burns more if you get bigger, okay? These are the amount of hours that you run. So this would be your hours per year. 3-shift operation, you're probably close to this. You're probably at like 2,500 hours a year. And then your cost of your fuels, okay? Then you just put in your cost of your maintenance. If you have inside maintenance guys that do it, just line everything up or zero it all out. And then voila, you've just got your side-by-side comparison of propane, diesel, and electric trucks. And the interesting thing to show here is that yes, electric trucks do, in this example, cost twice as much. But because of the cost of fuel today, you've basically got a $20,000 difference, which over the life of the vehicle, over 4 years, is going to come out to being about $5,000 per month, or per year, which if you divide that over the months, you're talking about a few $100 a month that you would pay different for your truck. Enersys, we did a tool just like it. We basically just copied it. They're nonprofit. Shows the difference. And then there's an Excel-based version. If you really want to dig in and understand what your actual costs really are for you engineer kind of guys who go, I use this many tanks per shift and et cetera, I pay this much for parts and tires, break it all down. Here's my costs, here's my fuel costs, here's my maintenance costs. And again, the same thing, you're at about a 30% differential between the electric truck, even though it costs almost twice as much in this example. Look at the fuel difference, 10 grand a year versus $1,000 a year in fuel differences, okay? And this is a nice little snapshot that I like to talk about to just show that how you buy things today could be a little bit different from how you buy things tomorrow. Do you guys buy or lease your trucks? Buy?
Depends.
Some you lease, some you buy? Okay, great. So let's just say you lease. What we're going to do here is we're going to break down a month-by-month comparison of the two different types of trucks. A fossil fuel drive truck, which could be LP driven, it could be gasoline driven, or diesel driven, versus the electric. So you've got your lease payment. On the internal combustion truck, that's just going to be the hardware of the truck and the engine, okay? On the electric truck, it's going to be the truck, the battery, and the charger, okay? And then you annualize all that out, and you come up with these side-by-side payments. Next is your maintenance. And in this example, I've got a little operation down here. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's $1,800 a year. And the reason why we do that is because it's really cool. $1,800 a year is just 150 hours a month. Very mathematically great. So it's 150 hours a month. We're using $1 per hour for maintenance. So 150 hours a month, $1.50 per hour for maintenance. And then we've got, last but not least, our fuels. And what this is based on right now is $2 per gallon of LP. And the truck burns how many gallons per hour? 1.5. 1.5, correct. So 1.5 gallons times 150 hours times $2 gives us $550 a month that we pay for our fuels. The electric truck runs at about 3 kilowatt hours per hour. We take that and we multiply it by 150 hours, we get 150, and we just in this case took it by 10 cents. Gives us 50 bucks. Okay? And I can show you guys all of this math. Your monthly cost in month 1 of that truck is $1,100 versus $900 at $2 per gallon of LP. Okay? Who here knows what a delta is? I know, it's really early. It's something that can change, absolutely. So where's your delta here? Can your lease payment change if you lease a truck for 60 months? No. Can your maintenance change, providing you don't start doing something different or running completely different hours? But if one changes, the other's going to change, right? So you're pretty consistent here. So these 4 quadrants really aren't going to move. The electricity. You have $50 here at 10 cents a kilowatt hour. If that were to change 10%, 20%, even if it were to double, which it can't do because Colorado has an energy commission that only allows rate increases to happen after they've been approved and after they've actually collected for a year on them. Check it out if you want to go to Colorado's Energy Commission. Most energy commissions around the United States have that. They have a rate limiter that they can only go up a given amount of percentage. That's not to say they can't hit you with demand charges and stuff like that. But let's just say this could even double. It would become $100. Now that becomes $9.50. What I want to show you is what happens if fuel goes from $2 a gallon to $2.50 a gallon in your monthly costs. You went from $1,100 to $1,275 at $2.50 a gallon, which is probably what you're close to paying today. Let's say you're in month 13 of this lease, month 14, month 24 of this 60-month lease, and some skirmish happens in the Middle East again. OPEC decides they want to drive up gas prices one more time. Is it likely it could happen? What happens if gas goes to $3 a gallon? Now you're at a point where you can actually have 3 electric lift trucks for the price of 2 gas trucks. So you can get more done, you're cleaner, you're greener, you're rooted in financial savings. Remember sustainability? Financially makes sense. We've reduced our carbon footprint. We've taken the nitric oxide out. If we brought an electric car or an electric lift truck in here right now and started running the mast up and down, would anybody get sick from the fumes? No, because there are no fumes. And that's good for our employees. Remember how it comes back to, everything comes back to sustainability. We save you money, we've reduced the environmental impact and corporate citizenship for your employees. Would you rather have them breathing fumes or no fumes? You'd always pick no fumes.